Good morning, everyone. We're continuing here in the halachas of one who journeys by a boat before Shabbos and on Shabbos, and a very interesting case today. We spoke about yesterday the idea of embarking on a cruise ship or a boat ride within 3 days before Shabbos. We described over there that since the first 3 days are the most difficult of traveling, where there's a lot of seasickness in a normal case that is involved, it's going to ruin the einig, the pleasure and the delight that a person has of Shabbos, and therefore they should not embark within 3 days before Shabbos, because they'll ruin the sanctity and the pleasure and the enjoyment of their Shabbos. So today he writes on the Hanaharos. However, when it comes to going on a river journey, there you are allowed to embark on a boat, b'chol inyan, in any situation, which means even if not for a mitzvah purpose, which we discussed yesterday, it's discretionary. You're going just for a pleasure cruise down the Mississippi River. Afilu be'erev Shabbos, even on Erev Shabbos, Friday afternoon, you'd be allowed to go on the USS Mississippi to ride down the Mississippi River. Because, why? Because the halacha says, since that on a river it's unlikely that a person is going to become seasick, therefore we're not concerned that being on the riverboat is going to hurt or damage your pleasure and your enjoyment of Shabbos. Therefore, even on Erev Shabbos itself, a person would be allowed to go on to that boat and ride down the river. However, he posits, ubilvad shelo yitztarich haYisrael, as long as the Jew will not be required, lasei sham melacha b'Shabbos, to do any one of the prohibited activities on Shabbos. Now that means if going on the boat on Erev Shabbos or on Thursday or even on Wednesday means that you know that there's things that you're going to have to do on the boat which are going to be tantamount to chilul Shabbos, desecrating the Shabbos, and you're going to be responsible for that because let's say you're the only one on the boat, or it's only Jews on the boat and there's no non-Jews that are on the boat that can do this prohibited activity for you, you would not then be allowed to get on to that boat before Shabbos, even though you're not going to get seasick, but you're going to be forced into a situation where you're going to end up desecrating the Shabbos, and you did that to yourself. You're not allowed to put yourself into such a situation. However, the halacha would be, though, that if you got onto the boat and everything was going along fine, and you did it in such a way that really you would not be obligated to do any chilul, any desecration of the Shabbos as far as you could tell, and then some dangerous situation took place which was life-threatening, of course, in that situation, a person would then be able to be mechal to desecrate the Shabbos in order to save their lives. So that would not be an issue. But to put yourself into a situation where you know going into it you're going to have to desecrate the Shabbos, that you cannot do. Now, even if there's animals that are pulling the boat, which was very common back in earlier generations, the boats didn't have motors the way that we have right now. So how did they get down the river? So there were ropes that were tied to the boat, that were tied to the harnesses or the bodies of big burly oxen or horses that were on the side of the river. And those animals then, they would be the engines, so to speak, that's the real horsepower that would pull the boats down the river. So even there, they would be allowed to pull that down. It's not considered using the animals, it's okay. Mutter, it's going to be permitted to do such a thing. Even though, and this is what the halach is referring to over here, even though that riding a wagon drawn by an animal on Shabbos is something that's prohibited because we are afraid that maybe you're going to break off a branch from a tree to hit the animal in order to get it going. Nevertheless, if you're on the boat and the animals are pulling the boat, obviously we're not concerned that you're going to pass by a tree and break off a branch, which itself is chilul Shabbos, that's called reaping, kaitzer, and to hit the animal because the animal is far away from you, we're not concerned about that. So all of that would be permissible. Okay, the next two halachas are going to deal with boat travel again on the ocean, or how far a person is allowed to travel before Shabbos or on Shabbos, and then we should be able to wrap that up next week, Be'ez Hashem, the first 1 or 2 days of our learning. Then what I'd like to do, as we've done so many times in the past, I would like to go to the halachas that are called Inyani Diyayma, which are the laws that revolving around the time of the year that we're in. The month of Elul is starting on Shabbos, Be'ez Hashem, and we have a lot of halachas to learn to prepare ourselves for the month itself of Elul, and of course for Rosh Hashanah and Aser Simei Tshuva, the 10 days of repentance, and the finale of Yom Kippur. And Be'ez Hashem, we will start those halachas also next week. Wishing everybody a wonderful day and a wonderful Shabbos.